And we are back, and I forgot to start the camera once again. This is like my third episode in a row, so you know it's going to be a great one.
It's all good. He keeps me laughing after 20-something years. I love it, and I appreciate it so much, especially when my vessel, right, this body is feeling all the allergies.
Yeah, she's
it's
struggling
really bad, and so I'm struggling.
We're going to get through it.
But that's right.
We're going to get through
I'm here.
For you all.
So welcome everyone to my Bulletproof Marriages on the Trajectory TV network. If you are married, single, dating, in a relationship, engaged, if you're in an entanglement, stay locked. We have solutions for you.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's get it.
Hey babe.
Yes, ma'am.
What do most men want in a woman?
Realness, authenticity, a woman that's intelligent, that
I'm not sure I understand it, but everything seems brighter now than before. I don't know why I feel this way, but every time I hear your name.
Put that foot down now, that's awesome. All right, done. You get it twisted. That is.
It's all because of you. I feel the way I do. You make my dreams come true, yeah. It's all because of you.
Look at this fine thing at work.
And I don't fall in love so easily, 'cause I don't wear my heart up on my sleeve. Yeah. I don't know if you feel the same, but every time I hear.
All right. Remember, being the best version of you is doing what's best for you in the present moment, leading you to your future self. You know what time it is?
I think I do.
It's mail call.
All right, here we go. Another one for this beautiful April.
I am newly married and I am constantly hearing my coworkers talk about how their wives never compromise. It's their way or the highway. I don't want to be that guy at work complaining about my wife, but I also don't want to cause World War III in my home every time I don't compromise with her. What should I do?
First, don't listen to other people, okay?
That's funny.
Their experience does not have to be yours. And it's one of the, man, it is one of the biggest traps in relationships is to go and listen to people yapping and complaining about their situation, their lives, whatever, right? And so, one, you don't have to attach yourself to that nonsense. But you can compromise. Compromise is a big part of relationships, okay? And you know, we always talk about hard conversations. I think it comes up almost once every single episode, right? And so sometimes the compromise conversation can be a tough one, depending on what it pertains to, right? But it's something that if you're newly married, so you start that habit now. You start compromising. You start talking about your wants, your desires, your feelings, and you start working together. And that's really what this is about, is being a team. You know, I don't even like so much the word compromise, right? But it's working together. Okay. It's making sure that both cups are being filled as they need to be filled moving forward. And as you guys become selfless and looking out for each other, it becomes a very fun act to serve one another. And your relationship can be founded on something that's beautiful.
Oh, I love that. No,
Yeah.
seriously, I don't have much to offer because
Boom.
it
Look
was
at
from a
that.
guy's
Look at
point
that.
of view. But I mean, I really wouldn't talk about your wife at work. They sound very miserable. And the only
Yeah.
thing they can do is just talk about the negative things about their wife instead of uplifting their wife and really trying to give you moral support as far as a newly couple, just really helping you stay connected, and obviously they're having issues, which is so wonderful when it comes to who we have as our expert today on
Yes. We're going to get
communication
into
and
it.
helping couples get through those conversations. So Chad, won't you introduce?
Yes. Yeah. Today we have Coach Keith hailing from Toronto, Canada, but now thriving in Colorado for over 21 years. He's a relationship coach with 30 years of experience and 30,000 hours dedicated to couples and families. Keith pioneered unique processes that offered immediate improvements and deep insights into complex relationship dynamics. Notably, his creation, the communication cure, has impacted various sectors, being licensed by the Army, Air Force, counties, schools, and churches. Keith's approach transforms challenging discussions into opportunities for understanding and closeness, evidenced by leading over 500 marriage intensives. His adaptation to online coaching over the last 15 years has proven exceptionally effective, offering a step toward healthier, more loving relationships. All right. And, I'm really excited about this because we love communication. We think it's a very large part, if not the largest part, of a relationship. So let us give a warm welcome to Coach Keith. Hello. Hello, sir.
Hey Chad, hey Linnell, how you doing?
Wonderful. Yourself?
Very, very good.
I
I
love
can see, I thought maybe you were tearing up already about this conversation, but it's those allergies, man. You got hit pretty bad.
it is,
Every year.
I am actually allergic to my dogs,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so we found out I have purchased a old English bulldog, and
Mhm.
then my son needed allergy shots, and I just like, what, let me see if you're even still allergic to peanuts. And while I was there, I was like, let me get an allergy test to see what's going on, and they were like, do you have animals? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get a dog. I'm so excited. Like, you should not do that. She was like, your back is flared. She's like, do you feel itchy? I was like, yes. And she's like, you're allergic to animal hair, I think. And then she checked. She's like, no, hair, period. And I was like, really? She said, yeah, you've broken out. But I'm not giving up my dog. And then next thing you know, we end up buying 4 more dogs.
Horrible.
Four. Yeah,
Yeah,
why just one?
kids.
Why stop at one?
Yeah,
But it's all
just the
good.
kids.
It's all good.
What parents do for kids.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
but hey, I know we've met with you before, and we know a little bit about you, but there's probably a lot of viewers that want to know a little bit more about you, and we would love for you to tell everybody a little bit about your background, what you've experienced, what brought you to the coaching space, period, and yeah, just acquaint yourself with the audience.
All right, thank you. I want to start off by thanking the two of you for what you do. I had a friend, he was in his 90s, and I worked with him and his wife. It was a 50th wedding anniversary gift to his wife. He brought her for counseling, and we became friends. And he was in his 90s, and he would call me every week and say, Keith, I know that couple you gave 15 hours to this week. They probably didn't appreciate all that you did for them because it might not have all been realized in the 15 hours you spent with them. But I want to thank you for them because I know what you did for them. And so I just want to extend that to you, Chad, and you, Linnell, because like you said, Chad, we've talked previously, and I instantly saw real depth in the two of you in your relationship. I saw genuine hearts that really do want to help as many marriages, couples, relationships as possible. And a lot goes into what you're doing in this broadcast and the work you do with couples, interacting with them, answering questions, things like that. It's amazing. I am very grateful for the two of you. So, a little bit about me. I think, yeah, it said in my bio, I'm originally from Canada. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, great city, multicultural city, loved it so much living there. And I knew at 13 that I wanted to be what I knew as a counselor at that time. And it kind of got confirmed when my friends' parents, when I was a teenager, like say 16 or 17, my friends' parents would say, "Hey, would you take my kid out for lunch? Would you go out with them? I'll buy your lunch. You just go and talk common sense to them." They knew a couple things. I had common sense, and kids listened to me. My peers listened to me. They received influence from me, and so I would do that. And it was confirmed in me that was something that I was kind of natural at and good at, and I knew I wanted to do that. But then out of high school, I didn't pursue that. I'd kind of lost track of that until one day I took a trip to the Pacific Garden Mission, which is the biggest mission in the east side of the US. And it was like 3 or 4 floors of people who were living on the streets, and they were bringing them in. I heard stories of doctors and lawyers who had just ruined their lives with alcohol and drugs and things. And I saw them there, and I thought, I really want my life to account for a lot more. I really want to influence people more. So I pursued counseling, coaching. I failed psychology in university. I'm just not book smart, but I'm real common sense smart, and got through. And was a strange thing happened when I was living in Canada. I was married, a couple of kids. We were at church one Sunday, and we had visitors come to our very small church. And normally, if you have visitors at a church, you might invite them to your house, get to know them. Well, these visitors invited us to their house. It was like, I'd never heard of that before in my life. And we went for lunch, and the husband was asking me what I wanted to do. I said I wanted to get into counseling, coaching. He said, well, you need to hear about this organization in Colorado Springs. And I looked into it, and within a matter of months, I was visiting Colorado Springs, getting training from this nonprofit counseling office that worked strictly with marriages and couples. So the leader of the organization, the founder, would travel all around the country 1 week a month and do seminars, and then people would come from that area. So we get an influx of people from Canton, Ohio, San Diego, California, and they would always come as couples. So I was very fortunate to be able to work with them together. It was totally donation based. So that meant a couple of things. I had to get results if I wanted my family to eat. I had to get quick results and lasting results, and I had to find strategies to do that. And I was able to, and it became really effective. I really, really enjoyed that. Once I got residency in the US, I branched out from that because I wanted to be able to offer more follow-up, more than beyond just the 15-hour intensive. And I wanted to work with families, having 6 kids of my own who are currently from the age of 28. I have a son first, and then I have 5 daughters. And so 28 down to 16. So I wanted to work with families as well. And I guess the biggest flex is that I traveled to another state for 3 weeks once and worked with a family across multiple generations, across 4 generations, 34 people total, and worked with that family. I tell you, I love it. The more complex the situation is, the more I thrive and enjoy it. And I worked with some pretty tough cases. And I only say that because I want to bring hope. Let me get that on screen. Hope to couples today. I have seen a lot. Like I said, the organization I was with for many years was donation based. It was nonprofit. So people would wait just because they could get free counseling. And it had a 3-year wait list. That's why I was brought down there. So wow. Most people, they say, wait 6 years before they get help. Well, these people, I guess, then had waited 6 years plus the 3 years on the waiting list. Some had already gotten divorced, but said, we got this appointment, we waited, let's go anyways. And I've seen remarriages and all that stuff. But, the problems had been cemented over many, many years, and had 15 hours to work with them. So I just love doing it. And like you guys, just be available and to help people, and opportunities come. And if you don't have your own personal agenda in the situation, you'll be able to see the needs and help people. So,
man, you just said something so powerful, and that's your own agenda. I think too many people have an agenda behind the help that they give, and it really, in my opinion, this is just personally, right? I think that that's kind of the problem. right? Behind the help that is being given to a lot of couples and just in general, right? It doesn't matter what we're just talking about relationships today.
Yep.
So, of course, I'm going to focus on that. But, when there's an agenda, it's not pure, it's yeah. So I just appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate the kind words that you gave us as
Yeah, I
well.
do. Thank you.
That means a
Cheers.
lot because there is a lot that goes into all of this. It's not as easy as we thought it was going to be, as when we embarked on this journey. Right. But,
Yep.
and I love that you like complex issues because that's really our thing too, is like getting into the weeds of marriage. I think that not enough people talk about the things that you're going to face, like the reality behind
Right.
marriage, especially long term, right? Like it's
Mhm.
one thing when you're in the first year or two, and butterflies still, and everything's perfect, and life hasn't really, gave you a sucker punch yet, but it always does. And I love how you promote communication because that's really where it starts, man. Like, and if that isn't established, it's really hard to go through the ebbs and flows of life, together without issues being created,
Hmm.
So I
Yep.
appreciate what you're doing and what you stand on. Let me ask you this real quick before we get into like all that. So you said you worked with the Army. I'm former Army. And
Okay.
so how, because I know that the relationships that we were one of them, right? And that they were dysfunctional,
Yes.
right? Dysfunctional,
Mhm.
massive lacks of
Hmm.
communication, very macho men that didn't know how to communicate feelings and wants and needs, and women who were kind of angry at the spouse because they were always gone and they were stuck with the kids a lot, and there was just a lot of animosity that was created between the lifestyle there, right? So I would love to
Mhm.
hear your experience and how your program helped them.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate how it started. So I'm in Colorado Springs. We got a lot of strong
Yeah,
military presence here: Air Force
yeah.
Academy, Peterson, Fort Carson,
Okay.
all that.
Or Carson.
Yeah, and had a neighbor who was a one-star general chaplain, and he introduced me to a couple chaplains at Fort Carson. They brought me in because one unit had 5 dependent suicides in an 18-month period, and
Wow.
they said the common thread, or what was common in all situations, was that the person in the military, the person serving, had no clue that there was problems. So these
Yeah.
dependents were wives, they were kids, and they were clueless for some of the reasons of deployment and things like that. So they wanted me to come in and speak to them on how they could go home and connect with their family members, spouse, and children in ways that they could really get to know them and get access to what was going on inside of their hearts, how to have that communication, how to come with listening and understanding. What a privilege and honor. It was humbling to serve those who serve us. Thank you for your service.
Yes, no problem.
But unfortunately, it was because 5 people, the,
Yeah.
the hidden cost, right, of
Yeah.
war,
Oh yeah.
what
Yeah.
goes on at home. And so I spoke to them about what the process that I use with couples called the communication cure, and gave them simple steps to reconnect. And when a person encounters humility, they will respond positively. I guarantee it every
Yeah.
time. What does that look like? So these, not all guys, but it was mostly guys, had to come down from a place of control and fears and be vulnerable.
Hmm.
And the tool I gave them, I actually have an online tool called the Communication Cure, gave them that tool to go home and to use. And it just allowed that to continue. And that just opened the doors then to work with Army Reserve, get into a couple Air Force bases, and continue to just talk about how do you reconnect. Because as families, like, one thing I noticed when I moved to Colorado Springs is I just described our neighborhood as people pull in their driveways, they open their garages, put their car in, lower the garage door, and you didn't see people outside. I'd always joke like, we're from Canada. It's cold and crappy up there. We were outside more than people are down here, but families kept to themselves. And I heard a lot of them like they didn't want to reach out and really establish relationships with neighbors and things because they knew they were going to leave in a matter of years.
Yeah.
And I get that pattern is just hard. And
Yes.
so you work with a very small community, and hopefully you get to move around base to base with them if you do. But I would say they lack community, which is vital. If I'm going to put community and communication right up there together as far as predictors of good health in a relationship of any type. But they lack that. So how do you open the doors to community and build that? It's a big problem.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. It's man, you hit the nail on the
He
head.
did.
Because you're always gone. Duty stations about every 3 to 4 years. You might extend, but it's not on a mass scale. So the average soldier is moving
Every
every
2 to 3
yeah,
years.
yeah,
Mhm.
roughly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you don't, as much as we claim that we have this strong community, it is also one that is shuffled around a lot, and so it's tough. And I think just not just in the military, but and we can go ahead and start kind of digging into that, but like reaching out for help, because you said like year 6, I think is what you said earlier, and the average couple files for divorce at 7.9 years.
Mhm.
So
Ooh.
yeah, yeah, it's bad. I mean, it's rough. And so we're looking at, let's say a year and some change before the average couple is going to call it quits. That's when they're reaching out for help. And so how, I don't know, what words would you give people? Because I believe that you should start seeking help as early as you possibly can, because that doesn't always mean that there's a problem. I believe in preventive maintenance, right? Like, let's work on things before they go to the crapper, right? Like
Yep.
before they get that bad. Let's try to hone in some skills, and so I would love to hear your opinion on that.
Okay. First, I want to hear Linnell say again, this is a program for people who are married, dot, 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 and then that crazy little click and wink. Okay, who are we talking to today?
We're talking to married couples, engaged couples, single, divorced, engaged. I have to think like in a relationship or an entanglement.
Entanglements. Yes. Jada
Okay.
and Will.
Yeah, that's where I got that from. The entanglement, I got that from Jada and Will Smith, because I had never heard about that until that came
Like,
out.
I'm
And I
an
thought to myself,
entanglement.
like, oh, I didn't like, this generation or this era brings out all these different labels of things. I never heard of half this stuff before. So
I just got the picture, people say, you look in the dictionary under the word entanglement, and like, there's the picture of Jada and Will right there. Okay, I know what that means now.
yes, exactly. So
Okay.
I thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah. So this kind of goes out to people in all those situations. Now, I work primarily with couples in crisis. They've reached that tipping point, but I'm currently working again with a couple that's engaged, and the parents want them to get a few sessions of premarital coaching in before they get married. And had a first session with them, and then I left them with, here's your homework. I want you to talk about and come up with a plan, if you haven't, of what you're going to do in your marriage when you hit that first speed bump, when there is a problem. What constitutes an issue between the two of you? What constitutes an issue that we need to get help for? And what if one of us thinks it's enough that we need to get help and another one of us doesn't? What do we do in those situations? And I just laid it all out. People don't talk about that. I don't know how many people go to premarital coaching or counseling these days, but
I don't think I don't even know if it's required anymore. I
It
thought
was,
it used to be required, but I don't think it is any longer.
I know in Colorado you can marry yourself. Like, you don't need
Oh,
a
wow.
third person. Oh yeah, you can just do it. You and your spouse on a mountaintop. So that would mean, like, if you're going to get any premarital counseling, it's probably just you talking to yourself. And how good is that going to be? But
Goodness.
so I had them think about that, and they said that's really good, because what the lady said was, I've been, I've valued counseling my entire life. And she goes, but my fiance, this is his first time ever talking to another person. So we're obviously going to come to this with very different values on getting help.
Mhm.
She had less shame around it than he had around and stuff. So first is like, be talking about that. If you still have opportunity before you
Yeah.
come together in matrimony, have a plan for that in place and some people that can hold you accountable to that, because it's going to strike.
Oh man,
Yes.
yes,
I'm
accountability.
about to
My
say the
goodness.
accountability part is
My
huge. People do
goodness.
not want that.
No, we don't. And I get it. No one wants anybody's hands in your Kool-Aid. And, we get prideful.
Hmm.
But, pride,
Comes before
man,
destruction.
yeah, it does, man. It can really, especially in the marriage, like, and I guess I can address all the men out there, right? Because it's a stigma that we don't want to get help. And we really do need to break that, because it is a powerful tool. And it doesn't always mean that things are horribly wrong, right? It means that you care about your relationship, that you want longevity, you want this thing to work out, and so being able to reach out and get help. And now today, when we were first married, it was basically only counseling, but now we have coaches, we have people that don't have those specific labels, and can kind of address your specific problems head on, right? And so you don't have to do the traditional method to get the results that you're looking for. And I think that's a powerful thing to bring up.
Yeah, I like, when I'm talking to guys, I like to say, let's just say your kid was interested in football. Would you mind if they went to the CU Buffaloes and was coached by Coach Prime?
Right.
What's he going to do? He's going to take them from here to here. It's about excellence. Oh, but he's a coach. Yeah, he's pointing out the areas that are weak, the areas that are strong, developing it all. Yeah, let's just say that is the exact same thing that you're coming to.
Yeah.
If
Right.
you find a reputable, good person with experience, you can expect that same type of growth. It's all about that. And
Yeah.
yeah,
100%.
You've been coaching for about 30 years now. Why is it still an issue that men do not want to seek help? I'm still trying to figure that out. Like,
I'll
why
tell you.
do men say no when they know they need help individually and they need help in their relationship?
I know you're going to agree with this. You're going to shake your head so hard it'll fall off. Men are less mature than women.
Amen.
I work, one area that I really spend a lot of time in with couples is maturity.
Okay.
And again, there can be shame and embarrassment. You're saying I'm immature. It has nothing to do with your value. It has to do with your capacity. And there's 5 stages of maturity, but the first one is infant stage, and that's where someone takes care of you.
Mhm.
When that is done properly, at about 3 years into life, you're motivated to learn to take care of yourself. Mom, I can tie my shoes myself. Mom, I can pick out my clothes myself. Those are the starts of I can take care of myself.
Hmm.
Mm.
Then you learn, you never lose these things, but you add to it, I can take care of myself, continue to do that, and take care of another person. That's the startings of I'm getting ready for marriage. I can take care of me and another person. The
Right.
problem is 75% of women are stuck here, and
Mm.
25% of men are stuck here.
Mm.
That's
And
powerful.
It
so you've
is.
got a woman who's trying to take care of herself, trying to tread water, keep her head above water while she's married, but there's a good chance she's got kids, which is here in the 4th stage. So what she does is she kind of leaves and checks out a little bit, has a little less patience with the husband, who needs her just as much as the kids do,
Mhm.
pours herself into the kids, raises them to her own level of maturity, and then she looks back and goes, I don't want to raise another kid. You
Yeah.
know what? And she gets in touch with, I've neglected myself. I'm going to go back to school. I'm going to get that degree I was pursuing. I'm going to reconnect with my friends, and boom, so often just splits either physically or metaphorically from the relationship because they don't want to raise another child. Now, in each of these stages, there's 5 or 6 things that are important to grow into the next stage. At this first stage, the most important thing, if it's the most important thing of the first stage, it's like the most important thing, and that is the ability to receive. Okay,
Mm.
life, conception. Life starts through receiving. An egg receives sperm, and life produces. Everything is dependent on your ability to receive. If men are stuck, or at least when stress hits, their capacity decreases to this stage, they're struggling with receiving. So to go someplace and have to receive input, even to receive influence from their wife, they
Yeah.
can't do it. Hey, honey, I think 4 cans of beer is enough tonight.
Right.
Doesn't receive the influence
Hmm.
Not
because
at all.
they have that inability to receive. I bet you've never heard that.
No.
For couples, it connects. All of a sudden, the lights go on, and now it's just an issue. Well, how do I learn to receive? I and it makes sense. It's not like there's something broken in me, because to mature, for each of those 5 or 6 things that you need to learn at each stage, you need the right contribution from other people. So a
Mm.
marriage will get strained because the wife is often the one contributing what the husband needs, and it's not really a marriage relationship. It's a
Hmm.
parenting relationship. It's what was
Right.
missing in parenting. And so to the degree that type of nurturing is required to just survive and get along, is the degree there's strain on the marriage. It's
Hmm.
less like a marriage. It feels more like a parenting relationship.
Yeah.
Guys just disconnect from that and they shut down. And so it goes to maturity, but ultimately to their ability to receive.
No, that's
You
good.
ever think about, like, what do I get my dad? Think of my dad for Christmas. He's the hardest guy to buy for. I remember saying to my dad, what do you want for Christmas? Nothing. Just buy some bunch of socks and donate them to the Salvation Army. Like, couldn't even give me a gift to give him. That is one real physical manifestation of an inability to receive and stuff. You never hear a mom or a wife say, don't get me anything. They might say, "Oh, make a card, right?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
me some flowers out of the garden." They'll always have something because they have that ability to receive. Guys, it's much harder, and then it turns into much bigger issues than that. Then what
Hmm.
to get them for Father's Day and anniversary and stuff like that.
Yep.
Man, all right. So we got to cut for a break. But when I come back, I would love for you to tell us at least 1 or 2 things that men can start doing to learn how to receive. Right? Let's work on reversing this pattern.
Yes.
So stay tuned, and we will be right back. All right, we are back, and you know what? Before we move on with the interview, that last commercial that you just saw, the Power of We will be the MCs for that event, and I encourage you all to really, if you want to make a difference, to get involved, whether it be donation, buying tickets, because these kids they really do need us, and we can be the difference in our own country, in our own backyard, right? And this is how we do it. You don't have to go to Chicago and walk them to school, but you can help where you can, wherever you are, wherever you live. You can donate, you can be a part of it. They need mentors. So go to the website, see how you can participate and make a change in your country.
And these are excuse me, I just want to say these are teens from the ages, and young adults, the ages of 12 to 24 years
Yeah.
old. So 750 young adults, teenagers there.
And they need us. All right. So that said, all right.
Well, let's go
How
back to that commercial. I
oh,
love that. Like, that commercial caught my attention. I love the look of that guy. I'm like, I need his bracelet. And I love the earrings. Way to go. And then the message at the end, just the never alone, always together. That,
yeah,
like,
Yes.
that struck me, because alone is the most intense pain a person can experience in life.
yeah.
And as we solve that, we start building in capacity to take steps forward and improve our situations. And then to hear that you guys are tied to that organization, and I'm
Yes.
saying,
Yes.
great, man. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, we're excited.
We are.
We have a soft spot for our youth and for the it's our future. So it's and we love giving, and these kids, they need it. And I was brought up really rough
Mhm.
with not very many good influences, so I know what that feels like. I know the pressure that these kids face every day to do the wrong thing. They need that influence to do the right thing.
Mhm.
And so that's what motivates us. And same thing with marriages, right? We know what it's like to struggle. We know what it's
Yes.
like to feel like you're alone, even in a marriage, and not know what's the next step. How do I work this out? So that encouragement, that positive influence goes a long way, I think. So
Absolutely. Yep.
100%. But back to that question that we left off on, and that is, yeah, I loved how you said that capacity to receive.
Yep.
And it could be as simple as, hey, I think you've had enough, or hey, maybe you should start doing X, Y, and Z. And we can't do that. We get offended
Hmm.
so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
How can we begin to work on that and begin to receive?
Okay.
He said, deep breath.
Yeah. So hear me out on all of this, because I got to start with, like, the reality is, the older you are in life, the more difficult it takes and the longer it takes.
Yes.
When it occurs in those first 3 years of development, when it should occur, it's easy and it's like on time. I can develop that within a matter of a couple of years. The later you are in life, you've got to really focus at it and prioritize it amidst everything else going on. So that's where it takes more work. Okay. So a baby can have several cries. I think I've come up with 5. I don't know if I can remember them all. Let's go, Linnell. Sorry, you're dealing with allergies.
You're okay.
What are the different cries of a baby? What could they be into communicating?
My
Hungry.
hungry. I'm
Yep.
tired. We can say my diaper needs to be
Yeah.
changed.
Yep.
I just want to be cuddled and held.
Yep.
And 5.
Tired,
There's
hungry,
Scared.
there's
diaper.
something like there's something wrong. There's something
Yeah.
internally wrong with
Yeah.
me, and I just
Yep.
don't. I can't say it, but these are the 5 I would come up with. That
Mhm.
seemed to be
So if your baby has a dirty diaper
Yep.
and you try to put a breast or bottle in its mouth to calm it down,
Right.
it's not going to receive it, right?
Right.
Because it's not getting the correct input
Yeah.
for
That's
what
right.
it needs. If they're crying because they've got a physical pain and you just go, oh, well, the diaper feels kind of wet, I guess I'll change the diaper, ain't going to calm down because that's not the issue.
Mhm.
So there's plenty of opportunities. Good moms, I'm not saying great and rock star moms, but like good enough moms in particular at those ages tune in to the baby's fussing, knows what it means, and when they recognize, well, it's been 3 hours, they give it food. When they recognize, and that doesn't smell too good, they give it a diaper change. And when the needs are met, what does the baby do? When it's hungry and it has offered milk, what does it do? Oh, open up, like guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. It is no different when you're 38, 58,
Mm.
78. When you get what you need, you receive it.
Mm.
So this is where, again, it taxes the marriage, to be honest, the relationship, because it's the wife being typically the provider of figuring out what the husband needs. Have to figure it out, right? Because as a mom, you had to figure it out. It's one
Mhm.
cry for everything.
Right.
Your husband, is him yelling at the kids and having a few too many drinks and playing video games all cries, and you got to figure out what's going on and what he needs.
Yeah.
Could be different stuff. So there is added work. So again, that humility, what in age, adult aged men can verbalize to their spouse that I need help and I'm
Mhm.
not good at receiving. And man, do I appreciate you willing to help me with this. And I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to work on asking for what I need in appropriate ways. But the support she can offer or community, because it can't be all the wife. It's got to be good friends who knows at that same time when they see their friend drinking too much,
Right.
speaking up and saying, hey,
Yeah.
have your drink, but tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of stuff. They need it from a couple more people. So the more people you have who are in tune with, I got to figure out what they need and offer it. And then that person say, I know I've got to work at receiving. And it might be tough, but I got to look at those times. And
Mhm.
sometimes a wife will have to say, I just did something hoping you'd receive it. Oh, that's what that was. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's not easy, but it's possible. The thing with our brains is, the whole idea of plasticity is no matter what age you are, it can change and you can
Yes.
develop these skills. So it's
Mhm.
knowing what they are. Vast majority of the population have no understanding of what real earned maturity is. I'm not talking like you get a high paying job. That's not earned maturity. That's earned status and income.
Right.
Reaching a certain age doesn't mean you're mature at all, but it's doing this work. This is human work. There's nothing spiritual. You don't become Christian or Muslim or anything and pop all of a sudden you're mature. It is
Right.
human work. And when you meet great people and get to know them, what you'll find is, well, they've got maturity and they can take care of themselves and they can take care of other people at the same time, and everybody's happy and they're serving and they're protecting the younger ones. They're establishing identity. You're doing it through that POW group, and that commercial is you are like, in maturity levels, you're like grandparents giving identity to the earlier generation. Say, hey, we're humans and here's what we do.
Right.
We're here for each other and all that stuff. That's what makes it great. Those are other levels. So humility, knowing that what exactly you need, recognizing it in your relationship. The telltale signs of a marriage or relationship that's struggling because the couples at one of these early stages is they often have a weak or stormy relationship. Weak in that, they're doubting the commitment. They're not making commitments. They doubt it if it's there. The person might be involved and interested a little while and then pull away. It's like, are you in? Are you out? Are you coming? You going? What's the deal? It's stormy. Could have a couple good days and a couple terrible days. It can turn on a dime. Those are all signs that you're struggling, because one of you is dealing with enough stress in life and lack of skills and capacity that you need some taking care of. Or the other one is if you're stuck on the second stage, where you haven't learned to take care of yourself, but you are an adult, you will be an adult that doesn't take responsibility for yourself. So
Yeah.
victim mentality,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
zero responsibility.
Right.
Not me. It's the government. It's the
Yep.
president. It's the school. It's the cop. It's the neighbor. It's the spouse. Boom. That is a sign that you haven't learned how to take care of yourself. Because if you truly knew everything involved in taking care of yourself, you'd walk with confidence and courage into any situation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and something that as you were talking about, the inputs, right, and
Mm-hmm.
what the person needs. And I know that a lot of people that we ran into, and I'll be honest, even us, we had to admit that we didn't know what we needed,
Yep.
what we
Mm-hmm.
wanted in our life. And it wasn't until through exploration of ourselves, introspection, just really taking the journey within to say, who am I? What do I need? And what do I want in this life? Like, it's hard to expect someone else, whether it's your wife or anyone else, to be able to give you an input or give you what you need when you don't even know what you want yourself,
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've ran into that as well. But we've not only experienced it, but
Mhm.
ran into it ourselves, helping other people. So
It is
it's
absolutely in every couple that I work with. It's in all of us at times. I'm talking about you. I'm putting my hand up, going, it is a lifetime journey.
yeah,
Right.
But again, it's not a reflection of my value,
right,
right? Everybody loves to hold that newborn baby. All it does is take
Mhm.
time, energy, nutrients, resources. It has nothing to give, but it has an incredible value. So its maturity is low. It's not producing much and contributing to society, but its value is super high. So your value is high. If you can see that in yourself, that's a good start. But every couple in crisis that's working with me has failed to reach that third stage. Those
Oh,
couples, they're out on dates. They,
yeah,
they don't need crisis intervention or anything like that.
yeah, yeah. I like it.
when couples come to you and they are at the break, like especially like maybe the women, right? Because they matured some and they're like, I'm done. I'm tapped. I'm ready to walk away. I want a divorce. Like I did this. I came, checked it off. Now can you somebody sign something and say that
Yeah.
we can get a divorce? Like, what do you tell couples that maybe the husband is saying, like, hold on, I'm not ready to divorce, but but I didn't know you were even. He's looking like confused. Like
Some
I
people,
didn't. I
yeah,
did not
a
know
lot
you
of
were even.
confused,
I
like
didn't
they
know you were
not
there.
even
Like
aware
yeah, so not yeah,
Yeah.
like
that
you
their
said, not even
spouse
aware that their spouse was even
is
that
done.
unhappy. And like, how do you help couples when they're one may be ready to walk away and the other one is like clueless?
So a lot of couples are at that place, and information isn't going to be much help for them. Well, because the emotions are so intense and complex that you're not in learning mode. So I'm not going to give them information, right? Remember, I said alone is the worst pain a person can be. So that wife has felt alone.
Mhm.
She's had a wedding, but not a marriage, maybe for many years now. She's just
Wow.
alone. Um, information will solve the issue if you're confused. These couples aren't confused. They know what they should be doing. They don't have the capacity, going back to maturity, to put it into practice and live it out. So the deeper the level of pain these couples are in, the more relational the solution has to be. So I guide them in this process. I've coined the communication cure, where I create a neurological connection. I guide them through face-to-face communication. When a person in a fraction of a second experiences connection with another person, their brain in a fifth of a second starts working on compassionate responses to what they're seeing. So then they are generating the solutions, and I'm not telling them. I will sometimes have a couple, I'll just have a feeling in this couple. I'm like, I'm not even going to sit and get my clipboard out and start taking notes. I'm just going to turn them, have them hold hands, and I'm going to give him the question to ask her. I'm going to say, pretend I'm a fly on the wall, but I'm going to give you the question and you repeat it exactly like I'm saying it, because I'm going to ask quality questions. Just so I'll say it and he repeats it. He's holding hands. He's looking her in the eyes when the question's asked. Say, why are we here today?
Mm.
And he is suddenly, because I'm guiding the conversation, he is suddenly in a different place and he's curious. And that's where your brain thrives, in curiosity.
Mm.
Because they have eye contact, her in a sixth of a second feels that's true empathy. I think a lot of people got empathy wrong out there. True empathy is feeling it. That happens in a sixth of a second. She feels his curiosity. That's inviting for her. She's going to say, well, to be honest, for many months now, for 1.8 years, I've been thinking we need to get divorced and I'm going to give it one last shot. She's done. I give him the next question. I don't let him blow it there. I don't let him get defensive. What's gone on the last 1.8 years that's led you to this place? Please tell me everything. And he's word for word. She gives it to him. And by guiding that conversation for now, if you have that type of connection for 20 minutes, you release oxytocin, which is the bonding chemical. You
Mhm.
release the same amount of oxytocins that is released during orgasm and intercourse. So strong bond.
Mhm.
Couples do not have 20 minutes of that type of connected communication. So they never reach that chemical release
Mm.
that can have that powerful bonding effect. When you have that bond, the next morning when you wake up and you see that your husband didn't clean up the kitchen when he said he was going to, you got a little more grace for him, a little more patience,
Mhm.
as you
Mhm.
see him as a person because of that bond. And you say, hey, come on, we got to clean up this kitchen from last night.
Right.
You're offering, you're living out compassion. That is what your brain will do when it has experienced that connection. That connection is cumulative in life, which means if your stresses in life and your crises and your disconnection and the rejection and the abuse is greater than that amount of connection, that's what's typically going to rule your life. But you can do things and you can practice and do exercises and communication that build that up so you handle stress better. The places that in your brain where emotions are generated is different than the places in your brain where emotions are regulated. So you can't always stop feeling something. You might feel rejected, but how you manage that through regulation is a different part of the brain, and it's the right prefrontal cortex that is active when you feel connected to a person. But if you don't feel a connection with them, and you've got like just a paper connection that is easily destroyed like that, you will not regulate your emotions. That means you won't treat them like someone valued, someone close to you, someone you love, and they'll be left confused, like what's going on here.
Yeah. Man, this is powerful.
I
And
have to say that was so good. Never.
I wish that we did not have to do this, right? But we do have to wrap this up because now we're getting into the meat of everything. So hopefully we can set up another time and do like a part 2. In the meantime, how can people find you to work with you so they can start getting the breakthroughs in their relationships?
Thank you for asking. Truly appreciate the opportunity to let people know how they can find me. I have a coaching site. A website is just keith.coach. So there's no .com or anything, just keith.coach. I have a 30-day program for couples in crisis or in constant conflict, struggling with communication. That program is from havoc to hope.com.
All right.
And then there's my communication cure tool, and that is thecommunicationcure.com. And that is where you can go and subscribe to. It's an online tool I created. That conversation I just kind of introduced and played out. There is plenty of opportunity to do that at home, the comfort of your home, without me being there. It's an online tool. Right now, I've got a beer commercial. It's a 4-minute beer commercial that couples watch together. And then they talk about it. It's presented with questions, and they talk about it just like I guided, give example of how I would guide a couple through it, and then get the same powerful therapeutic results without me physically being there and stuff. Yeah. So thecommunicationcure.com, fromhavoctohope.com, and keith.coach.
I love it. Thank you so much. This has been very enlightening,
yes,
very powerful. And I know that a lot of couples are going to have a lot of benefit from this. So thank you so much. And we will see you backstage in just a second. All right.
Thank you all so much for staying tuned. So sorry for all the moments that I had to leave the screen. Okay. But you know what? Keith was amazing. Yes. Please go tune in to his website. And we actually did his basketball. I think it was the communication cure.
Yep, it was awesome.
And it was awesome. And so please go check it out. We've been married now for 19 years and we did it. So we said never too late. So please join us next Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the E360 TV network for another Enhancing Relationship Conversation. Thank you for coming and being here with us as always, family. And if you need us, please reach out to My Bulletproof Marriages at e360tvlive.com. Thank you for watching, fam. We couldn't have done this without you. Together we will have a new me to have a new you.
So we can have a new us. See you next week.
Bye, fam.
I'm not sure I understand it, but everything